To add fringe onto my weaving, I'll hook the fringe along the bottom or the top of this weaving. I need a crochet hook and then also a ruler and the thread that I want to add the fringe. So for this fringe, I'm going to add 3 inches to the bottom. So first I start by measuring 1 piece of string, and I'll measure it to 3 1/4 inch. That will account for the knot. And then I'm folding this in half, and I'll clip it right where the ends meet. So this is just 1 piece of fringe. I'll show you also how to add multiple strands to the same loop. So I'm just going to put my crochet hook right into this loop here and pull the fold of the yarn through. And before I proceed, I'm making sure my ends are the same length. And then I'll just pull those through the end of the weaving. So you can see I'm just going to go through all along to add the fringe. This is a little bit thin and I want the fringe to be fuller than this. So I'll start with another piece of yarn, measure it 3 1/4, and now I'm going to see how long that is. So I fold it in half, and this is the length of the yarn I need. So I fold that in half there, and I'm just using this yarn to measure my other pieces of yarn. So I line up the ends, straighten it out, and then I'm clipping them all together. So now I have 3 pieces of yarn, and I'll do the same process. So instead of reaching my crochet hook through the top to the back of the weaving, I'll do it from the other direction, and I'm going to show you how that changes. So this crochet hook, the hook part is a little bit small, but it still works. So I make sure all of my ends are the same length, and I have this loop, and just like the last one, I'm pulling my ends through the loop. So as I tighten this, I'll hold on to the top and push down with this weaving here. And that's just so I don't pull any threads of the weaving. So you can see this one has a lot more fringe than this single one. So this looks a lot better to me. You can also see the knot is on the front of this weaving here instead of on the back. So depending on the look you want, I like the knot to be on the front. So when I continue, I'm going to have the hook go from the front to the back and pull the loop up that way. And you can even vary your fringe. So it's slightly different lengths right here. I'll go ahead and finish the whole row of this, and then I'm going to use a ruler and straighten out the fringe to see how that looks different. I've set up these two warping pegs on the edge of my table, and I spaced them out to be the same length when I wrap the yarn around as the length of the fringe. So that way I can wrap a bunch of yarn and cut it and I don't have to measure each one. So I started with one piece of yarn and I cut it to the size I wanted. And then you can see I'm wrapping it around these two and it's exactly the same length as the two pegs. So to get it onto the peg, I'll start by making a slip knot, which we used in the frame loom. So I've cut all of my yarn and I'm cutting it all in half. So there's one piece that's still tied to the peg that I'm just going to leave. And now all I need to do is grab 3 pieces of yarn to work with to continue this process. So for the gray, when I was tying the fringe on, I went up a row on the weaving. Instead of tying it onto the very bottom of the weaving, I went up a row because I wanted to have some gray shorter than this yellow fringe. And so I'm going to continue to add fringe up until this yellow line here.